So we're talking to FNI who has just completed 11 years on Twitter, and he is, as you know, one of the first things you see when you start looking at Indian football universe on Twitter. And he has been around for so long, grown into a massive account that dispenses news, views, and banter on Indian football, and one of the staples for every Indian football fan who follows the game online. Welcome and congratulations.
Hey, thank you, Chiranjit. That's too much of praise. I've not been. I mean, like I'm getting accused on Twitter. Like I've not been very active for the past 2 years. But yeah, it's been a interesting and fun journey all through. So I kind of started off when there wasn't much buzz of Indian football on Twitter, and I think even on Facebook there were like a couple of groups and stuff like that at that time. And from there, it has now grown. The Indian football hashtag has now grown into a massive monster where you have a stream of multimedia podcasts, then a lot of creative graphics, and a lot of things that it's way active now. And to see that growth personally has been fantastic. So once again, thank you for those words.
Do you remember the first news that you shared on Twitter?
Oh yeah, I do. So basically, as I've just mentioned that in my profile, like I was a bot. I mean, like pretty much a bot in the earlier phase. So I had automatically pushed one news onto Twitter, and that is between a game that happened, I League match that happened between Sporting Club de Goa and Mumbai FC. Like the peak Khalid Jamil time, I guess.
I mean, Sporting Club they go and Mumbai FC, like both the names are from a different era.
True.
So,
Oh yeah.
so when you started off in 2009, I think, did you expect to see Indian football grow this much, to this size and this much awareness and these many new clubs?
When I started off, definitely I did not think that it would become something of this scale, or at least, I would say, like when I started off to this point, like in 2020, I would be seeing this kind of buzz. No way. I mean, no way. I had imagined that it would have grown this big. So a lot of things happened. I mean, football in itself, I mean, in India, I think is on an upward trajectory. We have seen, like, even though for publicity or marketing stint, whatever it is, we have seen like foreign clubs looking at India as an option. You have La Liga office here, then Premier League is conducting events, and then you can see German clubs trying to, get a pie out of this. So generally, I mean, like all over the world, I guess people are looking at India as a market for football, and the game is growing so fast in India, and especially in my 2 years in Kerala. I mean, all I'm seeing is football. I mean, like there are kids playing, there are small leagues happening, there are academies. So it's a thriving ecosystem right now. So football in itself is growing, and I think the other buzz, the media buzz, and the buzz in the media, social media, all these things are part and parcel of it.
Yeah, you have also been, working with Gokulam Kerala FC. You're one of the major officials on ground right now. You left your job, your comfortable life in Bangalore, and went to Calicut, and now you're knee deep in Indian football. What surprised you when you like made that transition from just looking at it from an online outlet perspective and going in and becoming an actual stakeholder and a ground level worker in it?
Oh, the transition has been interesting, but I think my active background in at least reading up on Indian football, just helped me in not getting surprised too much about what is actually happening on the ground. So if I compare my IT stint with the football stint so far, which has been pretty short, I should mention that. I mean the level of chaos in the sense. I mean, this is almost like. You are, I mean, especially with our club, we are entering into a new club. I mean, particularly, I mean, like 3 or 4 years into existence, and so we are trying to find balances, we are trying to find processes, we are trying to find a lot of things. I mean, stability in how to perform, and all those things. So the level of chaos coming from a very like tight knit setup, like a corporate company where you have everything in place. I mean, like the day you onboard, you have things at your disposal. So when you come here, I mean, I had to find my path, find what have to be done, and for who are the stakeholders. All these things was like pretty new to me. So but I mean, like what I as I just mentioned a little earlier, what I could see is that, I mean, there is an opportunity, there is a space in this industry actually to thrive. And as I just mentioned, like, there is massive interest, there are a lot of people invested in this game. That is like from small kids who are playing the baby leagues to their parents and a lot of people. So I can see that 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 opportunity in this. And what I feel personally, I mean, like, even though I'm not in a position to judge at this point of time, like just being like over a year or close to 2 years, whether I have made the right move. But I personally, my hunch is that there is space to thrive here. And now that I've taken, a step to be part of it, I might as well walk the whole journey. So that's what my feeling is.
So let me just take you back to the how you got into this Gokulam Kerala FC gig.
Hmm.
How was the reaction from your family? Like stable life, good life in a good city. All of a sudden, you're just packing up and leaving to pursue your dream in football. Like, how was that received?
So the thing is like, so I had like good support from my wife. So she's actually the one who push me to, okay, you go ahead and try out what is actually in store for you, on this front. So a lot of other factors like some friends played a role in me getting to Gokulam. I have to thank all of them for all those part. But my parents were not so warm about this idea. So they were like a little surprised that I was like leaving the job. And but then again, as I said, my wife gave me complete support. She actually, without her support, this wouldn't have happened, because now I'm staying away from her as well, which is a big problem in this whole setup. So, but then again, because she gave me that support, I thought, okay, I will just try this out. And when I came into the system, and when some time got over, I was actually enjoying it. I mean, like what I'm doing. So that is why I'm here and continuing with this.
What was the toughest part of like you getting used to this new setup? What was most challenging? What was the biggest learning curve?
Oh, so in an IT industry kind of a job, what you're doing is like you are pretty much confined to your seat, like for 10 hours or 8 hours or
Hmm.
whatever it is. Whenever there are really release cycles, you are like probably there for 22 hours and all those things. So you're pretty much behind the laptop trying to do things, sending communication and all those things. So I didn't need to have a lot of interpersonal skills. I didn't need to be very, socially active or whatever. Nothing of that sort. I could actually sit behind the computer and get things done. But here it's a lot more different. It has made me a lot more active. I mean from from an office, the transition is our office is, I mean, like the Gokulam Yellow office is actually inside the stadium here. So the transition is from an office IT office to a stadium actually. So there is a huge difference in terms of scale here, and so that has made me and I've been given the operations part here. So that means I have to take care of how we conduct the match and all those things. So that means like walking all across the stadium, looking at the pitch, a lot of other things. And so this has generally made me a lot of a level more active. I would say not a level, it's taken me a lot more levels up in terms of being active. Then all those things, then meeting a lot of people, which obviously the IT industry, I never had to do all these things. So it's been a completely different area for me to work, and it did throw up some surprises, but somehow I've kind of, I think, I believe that I've kind of managed to mitigate those problems and move ahead. So the challenging part, I would say, is like Mm, somewhere I was doing, some marketing and content work for some servers in my previous organization. Now I'm like literally conducting an event, an I-League match, which is a totally different, thing to do. But I mean, like I've had my learnings in the first season. Now, pretty much kind of fine tuning those and getting things done.
You would say you are satisfied with your job experience and you're going to stick with Indian football for the foreseeable future.
Um, those are very difficult questions, which is putting me in a spot. But
I thought those were
but
the easiest things to ask right now. I was going to move into the difficult part now.
oh, is it okay? Actually, as I've just mentioned, like now that I've entered this this profession, I think as I just mentioned some time ago, there is some space to thrive here, and I'm going to try my best to thrive here. Yeah.
We're going through a tough transition phase in Indian football. Do you think would the operating force behind this club is strong enough to survive this transition and also thrive in the new reality that's going to come to us in a few years?
See, one thing I can assure is that there is massive interest for Gokulam in football.
Hmm.
And right now, I mean, from my personal point of view, I don't see, them going back from what they have started right now, or at least that's the feelers that I'm getting. And our president, Mr. VC Praveen, I think you would have also spoken to him a couple of times, I
Hmm.
guess. He is extremely invested in football. I mean, extremely on a very, very different level. He is invested in football. So I think his interest is that he wants to take it forward as well. Now, coming to the transition period, the chaos. So from when I've started following football, Indian football has been in perpetual, chaos. On one side or the other, something is happening, something is not going forward. But despite we having two separate leagues, and both of them contesting for the top spot or whatever, and effectively now ISL has become the top league. It has been announced that. But I do personally feel that there is a space to thrive for clubs like Gokulam in this ecosystem, but with some assurances and some promises, it can actually thrive. And I guess that would be the best interest for Indian football as well, rather stifling out other ventures like or other football clubs like this. I mean, I allow them to thrive as well, where we are actually nurturing a lot of players, We are giving a platform for a lot of Kerala players. So all these things are happening, and you cannot expect football to grow with just a small base or a small or a single club in a single state. So I do see that space for a club, a well-run club like Gokulam Kerala FC to thrive, even in this chaos. And but as I said, it depends upon a lot of factors, a lot of decisions from a lot of other stakeholders. I mean, the stakeholders which are completely out of probably this club's control. So there is uncertainty, I understand, but as I just mentioned, there is a scope to survive, but depending upon the decisions, the powers, the Indian football take. I don't know whether I can be positive at this point of time, but
Mhm.
I see a space, and it depends whether they're going to constrict that space or they're going to allow some, someone to, take advantage of that space.
I mean, if you're talking about thriving, I think Gokulam Kerala FC is the best example of that for this season. You've had a pretty crazy season. You guys won the Durand Cup, made your international debut, and now you have become the champions of India in women's football. You guys were playing on a big stage. There were like you were playing in Kolkata. There was huge home support for the clubs there. How did the team manage it? Because so many of them did not have an experience of this, and it was a for the club itself. It was like for the first time they were facing these high stakes.
Yeah, I think after a not so great last season, so our president wanted to start early, and we had also got our coach who had left us in the very beginning of last season. So combining all these things, we needed to make a positive start for this season. We pretty much assembled a very good squad as well and started pre-season. And then after the pre-season, we just directly headed to for the Durand Cup. And for us, it's like we were at the right place at the right time, kind of thing, because Durand, after some years of being very dormant or being conducted at a very small scale, this year we could see that they had tried to raise the bar a little bit. I mean, like, in the sense, obviously it's a very historic trophy, but what I'm saying is, like, as I just mentioned, it was pretty dormant. But this year, they I think the army is involved in conducting the tournament, and the army put in a lot of effort and money to make this tournament count. And that's exactly we got to see, because the matches were pretty good. It was conducted really well. They had put in a lot of effort. The organizers had put in a lot of effort, and we had also the best and good teams in India also vying for the trophy, and that just set the stage so right. And I think we had a slight advantage of being of starting a little early, unlike the other clubs, and that actually nailed it for us. And it's a massive win for the club because it's a very historic trophy. And I would say that I mean, like, in even though Kerala has been very active in football, we have not had like clubs, I mean, real clubs per se, going out winning trophies and thinking coming. I mean, like, when we saw the Durand. I mean, we have obviously had Kerala Police winning the Federation Cup and all those things, but and the other things that happened was like way long back. After that, we had a drought. All these things. So because of this, we got like massive support from the media as well. Um, Thanks to our media manager, Mr. Kevin, who was also very instrumental in this. Just about this, when the season was to start, we had a pitch perfect start for that. And this Durand win, literally, was like a nice background when the season was starting off. So it's on the whole, it started off on a very positive note, and as I said, we got a lot of coverage and all those things. So it was pretty nice.
You were watching the final in Kolkata?
Oh yeah, I mean like that also led to this first time for me watching a match, and that too against Mohun Bagan, one of the biggest clubs in Calcutta and in India. And watching that final was like a dream come true moment for me.
I mean, you guys won it. How was the celebration like, and how was the fan response like when you brought the trophy to Kerala for the first time?
As I just mentioned, so I mean, like by the time we just crossed those group stages and all, the media over here just been building up that belief inside the team also was that we will be going ahead and winning this is what everybody, I think, almost all the players, management, everyone was thinking that okay, this is for us, kind of a feeling we had, and we got a massive support from our fans here. There was a huge reception in the airport, and then we had a couple of felicitation ceremonies as well, all those things. So it was a perfect backdrop for our I League seasons to start, where we had a huge success in our preseason. Yep.
So with that, you guys won that, and all of a sudden, an opportunity came, which was pretty historic because no club from Kerala had ever played in an AFC recognized tournament outside the country before,
Oh yeah.
and you guys got to play in the Sheikh Kamal International Club Cup. How did that come about? Like, it was a pretty last minute thing, right?
Yeah, I think a couple of teams which were supposed to play dropped out, and we were also looking for some opportunity to play, and that's when this opportunity. And I think it was a perfect move because Bangladeshi football, whatever the fans kind of say here, I think is on an upward swing. There is a lot of money, and this kind of this tournament is, I think, connected to the ruling party as well. I mean, like in the sense,
Mm.
Sheikh Kamal is the brother of Sheikh Hasina. I think there was a good amount of government backing as well for that tournament. So I and we were looking for more and more opportunities to fine tune our squad for the I League. So the management took a decision to join that tournament, even though it was pretty much in the 11th hour that happened.
In terms of notching up an achievement, that is also another big
Oh yeah, I
thing,
mean
not
like
just for
more than an
BKFC.
achievement, I guess we got to play some good sides. The Telangana FC,
Yeah.
then a couple of Bangladesh sides. I mean, so we played some brilliant football over there as well, and and that what has actually happened is like it earned us some Bangladeshi fans as well. I mean,
Mhm.
so when the matches are happening, when we put the I League notifications and stuff like that, we can see some people wishing us good luck from Bangladesh as well. As a brand and as a company, I think for Gokulam also, it is nice to take their name outside the country, even though it is just a neighbor over here, but still it's a good thing for the club as well. So I think it was a very very positive experience.
After that came the biggest achievement of the season so far. I would say it's bigger
Yep.
than winning Durand Cup.
Yes.
You guys became champions of India in women's football. No, first of all, this is something I did not get too much chance to talk to Mr. Praveen about when we spoke.
Hmm.
But what was this particular emphasis on women's football all about? Because you guys have put in a actual investment and amassed a very strong squad in a way that very few other clubs do or can afford to do. I mean, Kripsa have a pretty good squad, but those players have been together for a long time. But
Hmm.
it was you guys who kind of came in and became the Bengaluru FC of IWL. What are the plans going forward? Because I mean, Gokulam Kerala FC have a very unique, position and a unique bit of power here because the name draws attention and support from everywhere in Kerala right now. I think some of the recent matches, the crowd has been bigger than the Kerala Blasters crowd, and you're gonna if you field the women's team also, it's going to turn heads and attract crowds. Is there any chance we might get to see this team play in local tournaments somewhere in Kerala? Because that would be a big step forward for Indian
Man,
women's football as well.
Man, there are no local tournaments in Kerala for women. Let's be very clear about that first. There is a Calicut League. I don't think we can bring in all these major
Yeah.
players who are playing for the country and all to get them play in these local leagues. It's just a 2 day affair. So that is another problem that we are facing. But I mean, like from the management side, they also are looking at opportunities to facilitate girls to take up sport. So we are chalking out some plans to actually probably start an academy for girls.
Hmm.
It's just chalking out plans. There is nothing concrete as of now. Then as Calicut does a league for the girls, we are looking out for some talents as well. Probably then spot them and get them and train them and form a core for this women's team. So when we look at it, I mean, like there have been conversations on Twitter about what kind of method is better for clubs to follow and why there are no local talents in our squad and all those things. So these are obvious gaps. I mean, it's not like people who are running the show doesn't know that or is probably overlooking the fact, and we are trying to attract only star talents and put up a team. No, it is definitely not like that. I mean, like there is introspection. People are also thinking what can be done to to bridge this gap. So, we are looking at some options. We are looking at some options to provide platform training, identify talent, and all these things. It's not like there is no talent. There are few talents. Some of them are very young because um, I think for a long, long time, women's football in Kerala has been like totally zero. There is nothing. But right now, there are pockets in Kerala. There are like pockets in Kerala which has been fueled by one physical education teacher in one point, another physical education or a teacher or a school which is giving kind of importance for this. So there are like small pockets where football is happening among girls, and we are looking at these things. We are looking at these developments, and we are trying to find out what best can be done possibly to harness this talent and give them a platform. It won't be something that will happen overnight, but there is definitely talk about it as what should be done for it, and I think we will take some action.
And in terms of what Gokulam Kerala FC is going to do uh, with its first team in the coming years, what are you thinking about next season? Is this a thing that Gokulam Kerala FC will want to win the title and also play in ISL in the future?
That is not an answer I think I should be giving. But I think the management, I believe the management is actively looking to continue what they are doing right now. And as I mentioned, the club, I think the management wants the club to be a platform that is given to Malayali players, and also for also a football club for the fans in Calicut to be proud of. and we have, I mean, like we have in the short span of time built a core set of fans who do come for our matches. And I mean, what endures to me is that despite whatever the tournament is, these set of fans are like very invested in the club, and whether it is I League or KPL or IWL, they are actively following, and that's a very good thing, because we being part of IWL has, actually taken women's football to a lot of these fans, and they are following. They are sharing these, goals scored by the women's team players, like Savitra Mandari, Umapati, all these people. So it's a very welcome move, and I think this is the kind of thing that football club offers for a lot of people like us. I mean, like supporters. So it is an avenue to love a team and take forward that good moments what football is offering. So I think that's exactly what the management is thinking. They want to stay in course and provide an opportunity for the fans to love this club, and also play some good football. And I think considering our last season, we have made good improvements this season, and I think the idea will be to improve even more. And that elusive I League Championship is probably the target. It's not probably the target, it is the target. So I think we will go on and achieve that. That's what I think.
But you don't want to talk about any possibility of playing in ISL in the future,
I
because it's begging for it. Everybody's just begging for a Kerala derby at this point, because both the clubs are popular, both the clubs have the money, they can actually make this work.
I have I have no idea. I mean, like right now, I've never had any kind of talks regarding this to our management or the people. Everyone is looking at like the next game, what should be done. I mean, like for me personally, I'm looking at the next home match. Okay, what all things to be done there? What all, what all holes to plug on that day? Everything, all those kind of things. I mean, there has never been any serious talk regarding, to join ISL or look forward to playing in the ISL or anything so far. So I think right now the club is focused on what needs to be done for the next match and win that match. That is what is currently brewing.
Well, that was a
Or
diplomatic
at
answer from
no,
FNI,
at least from my
ladies and
side, that is
gentlemen.
what that is what is brewing. So I mean, it's not a diplomatic answer, man. Honestly, I think everyone is looking. From my perspective, I mean, like I have to run the show when it is happening here in Calicut, and I'm only like looking at, okay, what to be done, what is wrong here, what is wrong there. Do we need to fix anything? Do we need to do this? That's what exactly I'm thinking. It's not a I mean, it's not a thought that has crossed my mind, or rather, I didn't. As I mentioned, I never had any conversations regarding this. Then what am I supposed to say?
Well, so, talking about your perspective, one
Yeah.
of the major things that you have done in the last couple of years is reviving the stadium, EMS Corporation Stadium,
Uh,
and you were very intimately involved with the project. Could you tell us a little bit more about how it went down? What was the planning? Because this, like, if we are talking about net gains, the revival of that stadium is something that the entirety of Indian football has gained
oh
in
yeah.
the last few years.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, it's not. I mean, like 100% yet, but it is in a position where a football match or a national level league match, like an I League match, can happen right now. So that in itself is a, huge step forward for that stadium, which was lying idle for a long time. I think after Viva Kerala played their matches, and then that Seth Nagji, which was just a flash in the pan, happened, and then nothing happened after that. So, so we worked on it, and so the existing structure was there. What we needed was to kind of fine tune certain aspects um, uh, in the stadium, and one was a pitch, which was in a very horrible situation when we had come in. So we worked a lot on the pitch, and it is still not up to the mark, I would say, because it has its limitations and problems in a lot of ways. So we kind of made the pitch a decent one. Then we worked on a lot of the dressing rooms because they were also in not in the right kind of situation when we went over there. And the stadium had a lot of structural issues, which obviously, I mean, like the owner of the stadium is a Calicut Corporation. Along with them, we worked along with them to kind of fix a lot of problems like leakage and things like that. On the whole, the last year we did massive work, lot of electrical work, and lot of the structural issues. Even though those were like not permanent solutions, but at least finding some, temporary solutions to sort out issues like leakage things. All these things were worked on, and we have a couple of people employed who are currently I mean, like invested in maintaining the pitch as well, watering that, and removing weeds and all those kind of stuff. There has been a concerted effort from the club to keep that venue active and alive. And as I mean, like Kozhikode has a very rich history when it comes to football. You kind of see like very old fans turning up for
Mm.
even for our KPL matches and all those things. It's a gift from our side to these fans, so that they are still enjoying some football over there. The KPL match between Kerala Blasters and us, I had like close to, I think, close to 3,000 or even 4,000 spectators. And even for the other matches, some of those matches we get decent crowd, even though the matches are played at 3:30. So that shows the kind of interest, the level of interest in a place like Calicut. So it was very important from if you look at it from an outsider's perspective, it was very important that this stadium was, I mean, like, had to come back to life and host some top level matches, which offered the spectators something to look forward to.
You've been so busy with the work you're doing with Gokulam Kerala FC. Recently, we have seen the online handle go a little bit quiet. So
Yep.
when can we expect a little bit of more news and more activity from that handle?
So the thing is, like, generally I stopped delivering any kind of opinions. So
Mm.
I thought that would create a very difficult situation for me and maybe for the club as well, and which I think I shouldn't be personally doing that. So that is why I stopped delivering any opinions over there. But I've been pushing news over there. I want it to be a little more regular. I mean, I think I'm a bit irregular these days. So I'm just trying to chart out some ways to actually keep football news India active. Maybe like bring in a couple of more people into it, and then be active, or something like that. So some plans are brewing, I guess, when I get a lean period in my regular work now. I think I will try to chart out something for FNI and then implement that. And hopefully, I think we'll pick it up after dormant phase.
So the price that we have to pay for you being active in developing Indian football is that
Mm.
we lose out on all the banter from FNI.
Oh,
It's like seems like a way big price to pay, man. I don't think like we can do without the banter.
man, and now there are so many people who are doing a lot more than what I was doing. I was just being a little bit active over there, that's all, no? So there are a lot of people who have substituted my presence, but I think maybe in some time I will also get involved in the mix very soon, hopefully.
Hopefully, we get all the arguments and the banter and the
Oh no.
sarcasm and all the little jibes, everything that we miss about Indian football and the chaotic experience that we have all shared, and something that has been so centered around everything that happens on that handle. It's actually a staple for all of us Indian football Twitter folks who have been following the game for a while. We always come across a news story that's been shared on FNI, and literally immediately everybody starts arguing about it, and it gets boosted when you step in and reply to something agreeing or disagreeing and pissing off half the people. Uh, yeah, I mean that
Man,
is something we really miss.
I think I've had enough of dopamine, shots. Now I'm taking taking a step back and looking at notifications like after 6 hours or something like that. I'm happy with that right now. So maybe it's like I needed a dormant phase. I will come back. Don't worry.
Do you have the FNI account on your phone?
I do, but the notifications are off because at
Ah.
some at some point I had switched it off, and I never wanted to switch it, switch it on again.
Hopefully, despite all of that, the account keeps growing and you keep giving us all the news and all the little bits and pieces of information that's coming from all over Indian football, because so much of it is stuff that would not come to our attention, because we're too lazy to like follow all these 20 other regional news handles that are giving us all the information. It's always you, just the great aggregator, who's pushing the best of the best right onto everybody's feed. So long live FNI. Hopefully that account also becomes way more active than it is today, and hope you personally also achieve whatever you're pursuing out there in Gokulam Kerala FC. Uh, but before we let you go, 5 years, where do you want Gokulam Kerala FC to go?
Man, I thought when I just moved on from corporate, I thought I will stop encountering this question. 5 years down the lane, where do you see yourself? I mean, I was like, okay, now this is done and dusted. Nobody's going to ask me this question. And now there you are. I,
Always
I,
there to ask the tough questions, isn't it?
I think, I mean, so this is something very personal, which I've shared with, I mean, like my colleagues here. I mean, like I see immense potential for this club. Seriously, I mean, not just because I'm here, but I see a lot of potential for this club, and if they stay on course, if the management stay on course, I think this will grow into one of the biggest clubs that have ever been here in Kerala. It is for sure.
Mhm.
Um, it is, I mean, like, it's just pretty new, but it is on a course towards that already. I feel it is reaching out to communities, it is reaching out to a lot of people in and around the city. We have been doing the baby league through which we have gotten connected with a lot of local stakeholders in football. It's slowly growing its tentacles and taking in a lot of well wishers fans, players, the community around the this whole football ecosystem. And I would say the growth has been quite fast, and it could only accelerate. And as a whole, as a team here in Gokulam KLFC, rest of my colleagues and me, we believe that we are taking the right steps ahead for this to happen. Not just because I'm here, I do see that prospect.
Mm.
Because I keep telling a lot of friends. I mean, like, it was a surprise for me when I just came into this place. I mean, the sheer amount of talent. Um, Among small kids over here is just way too much, and there are so many people invested. The I mean, like, it's a small city compared to a Bangalore or a Kolkata. It's a small city. It's smaller in size. I think the population is also way smaller. But every day when I come back from my office to my home, I see some kid or the other who is wearing an academy jersey, who's sitting behind his dad's scooter or bike, going back home after a football training. I mean, I'm not exaggerating this. It is the truth. And
Mm.
as I just mentioned, the baby league has seen massive involvement. I mean, like, our baby league, I think, is one of the most successful baby leagues in Kerala. I think there are only other very few people who have done it, but I think ours will definitely stand out because of the participation. There are like so many matches happening. It's been spanning, I think, close to 4 or 5 months, if I'm not wrong. And so that situation is very conducive, and as a club we are taking the right strides forward. And I think in 5 years time, Gokulam Kerala FC will be one of the biggest clubs in Kerala and India, is what I personally feel.
Mm. Time for another tough question.
Oh
Are
man.
you are you still a Bengaluru FC fan?
Oh, this so to clear the air, I mean, like, you don't know the kind of abuse that I have personally got when I just joined Gokulam, because everybody thinks that I am the one who handles the social media, which is not the truth. This is again a platform where I want to clarify that I am not the person. So, I mean, just for banter's sake, we just put out some tweets or posts which are not at all harmful, but I think a lot of people are getting hurt from this, and they just kind of shower so much of abuse for this, all because they think that I am a BFC fan. I mean, I have no qualms in admitting that I've been following BFC, and I'm also a fan of BFC in the way they have done things, everything. But the most important thing about this, I think everybody who's following Indian football should understand, is like BFC. I mean, despite being a football fan, despite being somebody who has been actively tracking Indian football news and reading about Kerala Police, I am Vijayan, occasionally watching one or two of their matches, Nehru Cup and all those in the TV and all those things, BFC provided me the avenue to watch the maximum local football. I mean, like,
Mm.
so that is what I am indebted actually to BFC. Like a club, when I was in Bangalore, it started off there. And for the very first match, that is BFC with, versus Mohan Bagan, I took a ticket and went over there. I mean, like, I wanted to see, okay, what is happening. But behind the scenes, I've been following that they are being formed, everything. I did not, I mean, like, as usual, when I'm following the other kind of news, it just only evoked that kind of sense in me, or feelings in me when I saw this news. But when the match happened, first match happened, I took a ticket and went over there and watched the match. And then it became a regular thing. And that actually gave me a name for these players, a face for these players whom I've been following online. so far. So it enabled me to watch a lot of India matches. It enabled me to watch a lot of AFC Cup matches. It has given brilliant moments in life, unforgettable moments like the match against Johor, the semi-final. I mean,
Yeah.
undoubtedly the best footballing night in my life. So, man, when all these things are there, then why not? Why, I mean, admit that, okay, all this happened because I was there in Bangalore and there was a club called Bangalore FC whose matches I have gone to. And top, to top it all, I've got like wonderful friends going for these matches. I've not been visiting the matches for a long BFC matches for quite some time now. But all these people whom I have met, I keep constantly talking to them. I keep meeting them. A lot of friends from football. So all this happened in my life, and why should I negate the fact that I've been following BFC at some point of time in my life, actively following some point BFC. So there is no point in it, and I don't see any. I mean, like any reason to actually stay back and tell that okay, I've not followed, I've not been this BFC fan or whatever it is. I mean, BFC is I'm indebted to BFC for making me watch a lot of these local matches. Even though I've been following football, I could not for a long, long time Indian football for a long, long time. I could never watch live football. Um, of any of the Kerala teams also. I've never seen a Viva Kerala match. I've seen an SBT match, but I've never seen a Kerala Police match. I've seen a JCT match from Calicut. I mean, those are like, I can just count them on my fingers. That's like probably for till 25 years in my life, and then 25 or 26 years, then BFC happened, or maybe more than that. I I mean, like, chronology thoda problem hai.
But can you understand now why so many Kerala Blasters fans are pissed off at Gikulam Kerala FC, because a Bengaluru FC fan is there working and trying to help build it up, and it's literally a former
Dude,
BFC fan in a club
that
that's
is
getting more
exact.
trophies than they are.
That is exactly what I'm saying, because it's a pointless argument. See, all of these guys, what they have to understand is okay, when in your city, if somebody is playing, just go and support them, man. I mean, these
Mm.
people who are playing football, um, I mean, don't think about the entity, they think about the players. I mean, they need our support, right? And that is exactly what uh, these people, and I mean, because BFC happened over there and because they had a very captive audience, we could see a lot of Indian matches coming there. That whole World Cup qualifier campaign, I think, out of that, almost all the matches happened over there. The 2018 World Cup, I think, qualifies. So,
Mm.
I mean, so these things, if it is automatically starting to happen, you just venture out, support your team from your city, and that's what exactly that I did. And that is nothing criminal, man. To get to abuse. I mean, so that, I mean, it is being connected on a very different level. People are telling, okay, they have put in a post, they have posted something, and this exactly sounds like what the other club will do. I mean, that is, first of all, it is nonsense. Somebody else has posted it, but it is not me who have posted it. I did not even have. I'm not telling that I mean, I don't have a role to play in some of these posts. There, there obviously have some discussions when it happens in the office, or I also pitch in, chime in with my point of view. That I'm agreeing, but that doesn't mean that I'm controlling or I'm doing the whole thing.
Mm.
And just because I'm a fan of some club, that doesn't mean that I should not have a professional life or whatever, right? At the end of the day,
Yeah, true.
everyone is a professional. They are trying to work. They're trying to earn their buck. All these things are happening. So you need to have that kind of vision as well, right? It's not.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't really care. I mean, I got a lot of abuse every time. You have no clue. Every time some post like this happen, I mean, there are people who have even taken my names. There are, I mean, have taken my name, and they have even taken my freaking photo from Facebook and started commenting. This is the guy who has done that. It has all this has happened. I'm saying it on a different level, but I've always stayed calm and about this because I'm like, there's no point talking to this army, and I think my wife has also got a share of all these abuses because she's an independent woman who has her own voice and thoughts, and there is no thought control exercised by me on her, and she posts whatever she feels like on Twitter, and then some things or some of these things have been mentioning Kerala Blasters or their fans, I think, and that has caused a lot of outrage towards her as well. So, I mean, this is part and parcel. So, I always keep telling her, like, don't add fuel to the, fire and just cascade it into a different level. Just avoid it. I mean, you say whatever you want to say, and if you say, if you feel some of these things are worthy enough to answer or engage with, just do that. Otherwise, just ignore. That's all.
Hmm. I think the more abuse you're getting is just a sign that you're having more impact.
Maybe.
That's the nature of the game in Indian football. If you're working with one club, you're the better you're doing, the worse somebody else is doing. So of course that's gonna happen. I hope you get, whoever is pissed off at you gets more pissed off by whatever you do next, and hopefully the handle grows, the club grows. And thank you so much for talking to us, taking the time and catching up. It's been a while since we last spoke on the podcast, and it was great to talk to you, man, again.
Same here, Chiranjit, and I'm glad that I've you know come to this platform again, and I could speak with you. It's been, as you just mentioned, it's been some time since we caught up. So yeah, man, and good luck with your TFG venture. Hoping to see more and more takes on Indian football. And before I go, man, I mean, like, congratulations
Is
on.
this about biryanis?
This is not the biryani. This is for the merger, man. Merger.
Merger in, huh? Instead of merger, we're getting a merger in.
Left, right, and center merger.
Yeah. What about it?
No. I was just gonna congratulate. Next year, you're gonna play in ISL, no?
That is not something to be congratulated upon. Like the merger is another, it's a Pandora's box just waiting to be opened.
Oh,
Depending on, I'm holding myself back for now. I want to see the unveiling. I want to see what name they have, what logo they have, and
crest.
what jersey color they have. If they mess with it too much, I'm gonna come out and say like this is not my club. That's where I
Okay,
am.
let's see
So
where it goes, man.
yeah.
Let's.
Literally, yeah, no biggie, no tension. My experience with Indian football may change for the worse permanently in a few weeks, but why take
But
tension?
MB in its current form is having a stellar season, man. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. So much depends. Ultimately, like even though money has taken over, so much of it still depends on what happens on the pitch, and that's the beauty of Indian football. All the chaos that surrounds it.
Oh
Thanks
yeah.
once again for speaking to us.
Yeah, thank you so much for this platform, man. Good night.